Control was intriguing. At first glance, it looked like another cinematic art piece boasting beautiful graphics and a very ambiguous storyline. In all honesty, I expected a beautiful mess where it would have gotten little to no recognition, regardless of Remedy Entertainment's pedigree. Quantum Break never flew under my radar, but it had quite decent reviews, pushing at least like a 7 out of 10, and skimming through the game mechanics and graphics of Quantum Break, Control feels like a successor to what direction Remedy Entertainment is taking. Yet here I am, quite pleased with my experience with the game, more than I predicted I would be, and it's also been a cool minute since I've done a review, and seeing as I just played it until there was nothing left for me to do, well, the stars aligned, I guess. So let's get into it. If you know nothing of Remedy Entertainment, they have a long rap sheet. They developed Max Payne 1 and 2, the Alan Wake series, and the previously mentioned Quantum Break. When it comes to storytelling, these are probably the best in the biz, and over-the-shoulder combat is their specialty. Control is no different, but I mean, you do what you do best, but over time slowly improve upon it. Bethesda knows what I'm talking about, so it's safe to say I would probably come out from this game with a solid experience nonetheless, but what I got was simply impressive. You take control of Jessie Faden, our mysterious red-headed star who kind of talks to herself, which is kind of a red flag, but whatever, in search for some answers and drawn to the Federal Bureau of Control, which not a lot of people know about. Sometimes I get a little nervous when we get into a game with so many mysteries from the get-go, but I can confidently say everything clears up the further you progress, leaving no loose ends to complain about. The story is very intriguing, packed with a nice cast of characters to come across. The FBC is such an interesting concept to play off of, which I will go into later on in the video. But the way the story is told through documents and progression of the story, it's hard not to hope that an actual bureau like this exists. The bureau is tasked with containing and studying many objects of power. This could be a floppy disk that holds Russian nuclear launch codes to even a balloon. And all of these items have extensive research that you can read up on, but it goes to show they took the time in every detail when writing background for Control. The game is worth a play just for the story. Jessie is relatable and an interesting protagonist. The overall plot is close-knit and detailed to the point where I'm starting to believe the Federal Bureau of Control exists and we need to expose it. The first steps you take in a game kind of tell you how the whole experience is going to play out, or maybe that's just how I feel about it. Controlling Jessie felt solid. Movement wasn't clunky or non-responsive. Variety of combat is a joy on the ground or in the air, making the gameplay exceptional. Unfortunately, I was not playing this on a PC, which I guess is always the perfect outlet for any game ever created, but the PS4 controller did just fine and it felt good. With the added cameraman feel, I was just playing out a very interesting sci-fi thriller movie, and I never got knocked out of my immersion. I've always liked the third-person camera view to make me feel like the omnipotent god I am. And in this game, yes, Jessie does talk to you, as influencing her actions and such. Combat, as said before, is exceptional with different abilities that Jessie can acquire from the objects of power you interact with, and the awesome service weapon that you can turn into any type of gun you would ever want. There's a lot of mix and match, so combat never felt stale. And later in the game, acquiring one of the final abilities, gliding, opens up an entirely new combat style to play around with. You're the ultimate superhero, and it's great. Along with all the abilities and weapon variants, there are a ton of mods that apply different effects to the selected weapon, and a gigantic skill tree to enhance personal stats like health and energy, or to make your abilities much better. There are about 15 main quests that you can do, about 10 side quests, and a ton of extra challenges to take on. There's plenty to do, and nothing really felt overused. They made sure to make unique mission formats that kept you engaged, and always had something to do. The sectors that you come across are vastly different, but feel like they are connected. Even though you go through these massive underground facilities and containment sections, it all still feels organic to where you are. And although the office spaces are built pretty much the same, the lower you go, the more ruined and abandoned it feels. I quite like the FBC as a location. Throw in the cinematic intros that kind of burst in your face when you go into a new area. Honestly, I thought it was kind of obnoxious, but I do see the point of this kind of being like a movie section where it shows you the new area. It's not like a big complaint or a downside, it's like just really in your face. So I honestly don't know how I feel about it. Although at this point I've kind of praised the game for its story and its gameplay and environments, it's still not a perfect game, especially on the PS4. And before I begin this, let me start by saying no, I do not have a high-end PC with ray tracing or a PS4 Pro to fully experience the power of Control's insane graphics, but that shouldn't bar me from being able to play the game and experience it when things get too crazy. The frame drops are real, and although I do understand when spawning into a new area or booting up the game for the first time, it's got to have some time to render, and kind of warm up, things do have to get situated, but not at this extent. I constantly came across frame drops and stability issues. It's a roll your eye kind of situation, but when the enemies start spawning and chaos ensues, the game is susceptible to crashes. My game has crashed about 4 times due to the console not being able to handle that much shit on the screen during combat, and this game vomits out particles like it's the 4th of July, and it's pretty bad. Sometimes I can barely see what is going on, which eventually led to me like dying or having to rub my eyes because my eyes were bleeding from how much shit was on the screen. Next time I would tone it down a lot, but you know what, I'm not a game developer. I don't know. Maybe they wanted it to be like this. The last thing I would say is I wish there was a little more work to do in the map. It overlaps depending on how many floors there are, which makes it quite confusing to navigate areas, meaning like more time running around than actually getting to objectives or finding things. It's kind of super confusing and I didn't enjoy it that much. And of course the cinematic just shoot in your face whenever you go into a new area, but that's more of like a minor inconvenience. That's just me complaining about something that I didn't like, even though Fish seems to have liked it a lot. I don't know what my deal is with the whole thing. I'll just shut up about it. It's fine. I do think Control has every right to boast about its graphics and its gameplay and its story. It's an enjoyable experience from start to finish, and I really hope DLC comes out, or even maybe even a second installment. I was discussing this with Fish, but there's so much room for this to become like an ongoing series with Jesse, or even just focusing on the Bureau as a whole. I'd like to delve into the universe even more, and Remedy Entertainment did a really good job in creating it. I'm super impressed. I even 100%ed this game, and it kept me entertained for hours. Its finely tuned combat and controls, immersive storytelling, and plenty of customization makes this a great game. Although it's held back by certain frame issues and stability issues, which I would like to mention does not happen all the time, but you know, it's apparent. And I couldn't just leave it unnoticed. But I would definitely give this a try. So Control, thanks for the experience, and hopefully Remedy Entertainment gives us something more. I'd really like to see a lot more in this realm, whether it be DLC or another installment or even a completely different game that takes place in the same universe. But I had a lot of fun, and I'll definitely be on the lookout for anything that comes out about this game. So yeah, I mean, I guess just like 8 out of 10, dude. Like, it was good. So yeah, definitely check it out, and thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, let me know and leave a like while you're here. Tell me what you'd like me to review or kind of play. It could be old or new. I'm going through a ton of games I missed out on the past like decade or so. So thank you guys, and we'll see you next time. Make sure to check out the podcast as always. We're getting back up and, you know, oiling the gears, so there's gonna be more content coming out as soon as we start figuring stuff out. But we do stream some of this stuff. I am streaming these games that I'm playing, and Fish is coming along for the ride when I do stream, so we have like a double commentary. I might post it, I might not, I don't know yet, but thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.